Hey, everybody. You know that feeling when someone's words lodge themselves in your brain and just spin and spin? Or when a friend's actions send you into this spiral of self-doubt? Yeah, we've all been there. It's like taking things personally is hardwired into us. Here's the thing, being sensitive to others isn't a weakness. It's actually part of what makes us human. It's about connection. But when we're constantly filtering everything through the lens of "this is about me," it can create so much unnecessary suffering. We start seeing attacks when none were intended, and honestly, it's exhausting. But what if we could learn to detach a little? To loosen the grip of those immediate, often painful reactions? That's what we're going to unpack today. We're diving deep into 10 practical, actionable steps to help you stop taking things so personally and reclaim your peace. Our brains are wired for story. It's how we make sense of the world. But sometimes, we jump to the worst conclusions. Someone's curt, and we decide they hate us. But what if we challenge that story? You rarely have the full picture. We're all carrying our own baggage. That snarky comment, it might have nothing to do with you. Think about a time you snapped at someone. Were you truly angry with them, or carrying stress from work? Next time, hit the pause button. Ask yourself, what am I assuming here? You might be surprised by the reality. This one is simple but so powerful. When someone says or does something that triggers that take it personally response, resist the urge to fire back immediately. Breathe. Seriously, take a deep breath, count to 10, give yourself some physical and emotional distance. Creating that space, even if it's just a few seconds, can shift everything. It allows the initial wave of emotion to subside a bit so that you can respond, not react. Because let's be honest, most of us don't make our best decisions in the heat of the moment. Think of it like this: you're giving yourself a gift, the gift of perspective. That pause allows you to access the wiser, calmer part of yourself, the part that can see the situation more clearly and choose a more thoughtful course of action. And you know what? Sometimes, that action might be to not take any action at all. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is to simply let it go. Imagine this: you're at a party, and a friend seems distant. They barely make eye contact, and their responses are short. Your immediate thought might be, what did I do? Are they mad at me? But hold on. Let's zoom out a bit. What's the context of this situation? Is your friend going through a tough breakup? Did they just lose their job? Are they dealing with a family crisis? We often forget that people's behavior is rarely about us. It's about what they're carrying with them, the invisible burdens and joys that shape their interactions. Before you personalize, consider the bigger picture. Is there something else going on in their life that might be influencing their behavior? This isn't about making excuses for hurtful actions, but it is about cultivating compassion and understanding. Because the truth is, we all have moments where we're not our best selves. We all say and do things we regret, not out of malice, but because we're human. One of the most courageous things you can do is ask for clarification when you're hurting. It's easy to let assumptions fester and build up resentment. But what if we chose vulnerability instead? Approach them with an open heart and a willingness to understand. Simply say, hey, when you said, insert comment, it made me feel, insert feeling. Can you help me understand what you meant? This creates a space for honest dialogue. Sometimes, that's all it takes to clear the air and move forward. Empathy. It's a word we hear a lot, but what does it really mean? It's not about condoning hurtful behavior. It's about trying to understand the why behind it. It's about stepping into someone else's shoes and seeing the world through their eyes, even for a moment. Imagine, for a second, that you're carrying the weight of their experiences, their insecurities, their joys. How might that change your perception of their actions? It's not about excusing behavior, but it is about cultivating compassion. Think about a time you acted in a way you weren't proud of. Were you tired? Stressed? Hurting? We've all been there. Extending that same grace to others can be incredibly freeing. Because when we lead with empathy, we start to see the humanity in everyone, even in those who've hurt us. And that, my friends, is where true healing begins. Self-awareness is a superpower. It's about understanding your triggers, the things that make you most likely to take things personally. What are the buttons that, when pushed, send you into a spiral of self-doubt and insecurity? Maybe it's criticism about your work, comments about your appearance, or a friend forgetting a birthday. Whatever it is, acknowledging those sensitivities is the first step toward healing them. Because when we understand why we react the way we do, we can start to choose a different response. Think about it like this: those triggers are like emotional landmines. You can't always avoid them, but you can learn to spot them and navigate around them more skillfully. Start by keeping a journal. When you find yourself taking something personally, write down what happened, how it made you feel, and what you think might be driving that reaction. Over time, you'll start to see patterns emerge. And those patterns will give you valuable insights into your own heart and mind. Our thoughts are powerful. They shape our perceptions, our emotions, and ultimately, our reality. So if we're constantly telling ourselves stories like, "They hate me," or "I'm not good enough," guess what? We're going to believe them. But what if we challenge those negative thought patterns? What if we reframed the narrative to be more empowering and compassionate? The next time you catch yourself spiraling into self-doubt, try this: ask yourself, is there another way to look at this situation? Instead of assuming the worst, consider more neutral or even positive explanations. Maybe that friend who cancelled plans at the last minute is genuinely overwhelmed, not trying to avoid you. Maybe that coworker who seemed distant is dealing with a personal issue, not trying to send you a message. Remember, you're not trying to deny your feelings. You're simply choosing to view the situation through a more balanced and realistic lens. And that shift in perspective can make all the difference. Have you ever noticed how easily we can get caught up in the drama of the moment? It's like that one offhand comment, that unreturned text, that awkward encounter becomes the center of our universe. But here's the truth: most things just aren't that deep. When you find yourself taking something personally, zoom out. Ask yourself, will this matter in a week? A month? A year? Chances are, the answer is no. We tend to give our power away to things that, in the grand scheme of things, just don't matter that much. Instead of getting lost in the weeds, focus on the bigger picture. What truly matters to you? What are your values? What kind of person do you want to be in the world? When you align your actions with your values, the opinions of others lose their power. Remember, you get to choose what you give your energy to. Choose wisely. Boundaries. This is about self-respect. It's about deciding what you will and will not tolerate in your life. When you have strong boundaries, you're essentially creating a protective shield around your heart. You're saying, this is what I stand for. This is what I will accept. And this is where I draw the line. Setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's essential for your well-being. It's about communicating your needs and expectations clearly and respectfully. It's about saying no without guilt and yes without resentment. Start by identifying the areas of your life where you feel most vulnerable to taking things personally. Is it with your family? Your friends? Your co-workers? Once you've pinpointed those areas, you can start setting clear boundaries. Remember, you teach people how to treat you. And by setting healthy boundaries, you're teaching them to treat you with respect. Here's a radical thought: not everything requires a response. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is to simply let it go. This doesn't mean you're condoning hurtful behavior. It means you're choosing to protect your peace. It's about recognizing that you can't control other people's actions or words, but you can control your response. You can choose to release the anger, the hurt, the resentment. You can choose to forgive, not for them, but for you. Think of it like this: holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It's only hurting you. Letting go, on the other hand, is like setting yourself free. It's a process, and it won't happen overnight. But with practice, you can learn to release the emotional grip that others have over you and step into a place of true peace and freedom. Look, learning to stop taking things personally is a journey, not a destination. It's about showing up for yourself with compassion and curiosity, even when it's hard. And if you stumble, that's okay. It's all part of the process. If you want to dive deeper into protecting your energy and navigating challenging relationships, check out our video on how to ignore people and stay unaffected by them. It's full of strategies for creating healthy emotional distance from those who drain you. You'll find the link in the description below. And as always, thank you for being here. Remember, you are worthy of love and belonging, just as you are. Now go out there and create a life that reflects that truth.